I recently built this sim rig for under $1,000, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how I did it. A quick look at my sim rig will reveal that it's a good mix of DIY and budget gear with a few high-end components sprinkled in. The seat was a Facebook find pulled from an NB Miata. The rig was made using 2x4s I just found in my garage. The wheel and pedals are from the Moza R5 bundle, and the Thrustmaster TH8-ish shifter I had left over from my old desk-mounted setup. The most premium components come in with the SimLab triple monitor stand and the 3 LG monitors, but even those I got secondhand on Facebook Marketplace. So why'd I build it this way? If you go online, everybody just tells you to go all in, especially if you've been using the belt-driven wheels like I had been for over a year. The truth is that I only had so much money to put towards a racing rig, but I knew from my old rig what I was chasing. I wanted greater immersion, more force feedback from the wheel, and a dedicated place to race so I didn't have to keep setting up and taking down my pedals whenever I wanted to be at my desk. So what's good and what's bad? Well, if we start off with the good, the rig itself was insanely cheap to put together. The 2x4s cost me virtually nothing since most of them were just sitting in my garage. The Miata seat was $50 secondhand. The biggest expense was honestly just my time. It took my girlfriend and I a few days to cut all the wood down, assemble it, spray paint it, but when you consider that a new aluminum rig costs $450 on the low end, excluding the seat, this felt like a more palatable investment. The biggest downside to the wooden rig is honestly the adjustability. My Miata seat thankfully came with the rails, so I can slide the seat back and forth, but the pedals and wheelbase are kind of stuck where they are once you assemble the 2x4s. The Moza R5 bundle is a massive leap over the belt-driven Thrustmaster and Logitech wheels that I was racing on. I actually have a level of road feel now that wasn't present before, and the wheel rotates way quicker than the belt-driven wheels did. The worst part about the R5 bundle is the pedals. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're made of a much nicer metal material than on the TMX or Logitech wheels, but they have roughly the same amount of feedback. I have seen, however, that there's a spring and sensor that you can get for the brake pedal, which effectively turns it into a load cell, but I haven't tried that out yet. My only other complaint with the Moza R5 bundle is that the wheel itself just generally feels kind of small. It doesn't actually really feel like any real car I've been in. They do sell, wheel extenders for the wheel itself, but I was already on a budget and I didn't want to put even more money into that side of things. The nicest part of my rig is absolutely the SimLab triple monitor stand. I got it secondhand on Facebook and it's amazing how adjustable it is. It made setting up the monitor so much easier than I thought it was going to be. It was by far the biggest splurge of my mid-range sim setup, but I can say with certainty it was the best area to splurge. Okay, so you want to build a rig like mine, but you don't know where to start. I would start in 3 places. Number 1, DIY anything that you can. It will severely cut down on your costs, and in the long run, a lot of the DIY woodworking stuff is just as good as a lot of the aluminum stuff with less adjustability. And if you're DIYing your rig, definitely look into either going to a junkyard and picking up a seat secondhand, or potentially finding somebody online who's parting out their car or just selling the seat, and like in my instance, you can pick a lot of these old car seats up for $50. I've heard in many instances they're not only more comfortable than the new seats that you can buy, but they're also more adjustable. You can actually tilt the seats back and forth. You can slide them back and forth, all without having to pay additional money to get the rails. 2, scour Facebook Marketplace. There are a lot of people that get into this hobby and they start out and then they decide they don't like it, but they put a lot of money into their gear initially and then they'll throw it on Facebook for way cheaper than you can find it at any retail store or micro center or anything like that. And 3, right now in November is a great time to get anything brand new because a lot of these companies will do big sales on any of the equipment that you cannot find used, and that makes it a great time to buy. I'm going to drop a link in the description for the guide I used to build my rig. It's from Ben over at the YouTube channel Kame Trick. He did a great build guide that's super easy to follow. I am not a trained woodworker in any sense of the word, but his build guide only took me just a little bit of time, and it was a great entry point into, making something out of wood, which I'll be honest, I've not really done before. So that's how I built my sim rig for under $1,000. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel. I'm going to try and work up to 1 video a week, and it would be awesome to have you here on the rest of this journey. And I'll see you next time.